Tom woke up every morning before dawn, pulling on his work boots and heading to the factory where he'd spent nearly 2 decades of his life. The air inside was thick with the smell of molten metal and the deafening clang of machinery. But Tom didn't mind. He took pride in his work, knowing that each beam and girder he helped craft contributed to building homes, bridges, and skyscrapers. Despite the physical toll of his job, Tom had a secret passion. He loved teaching. Growing up, he'd been an avid reader and excelled in school, but financial hardships forced him to leave his studies behind. Now, as an adult, he found joy in sharing knowledge with others. During his lunch breaks, instead of resting or chatting with coworkers, Tom tutored struggling students from the local community. Word spread quickly among families. "If you need help, go see Tom at the factory," parents would say. Students began showing up regularly, clutching textbooks and notebooks, hoping to learn from the kind steelworker. For Tom, these short lessons weren't just about academics. They were about planting seeds of hope in young minds. One day, as Tom sat on a bench outside the factory eating his sandwich, he noticed a boy lingering nervously nearby. This was Alex, a quiet teenager who would soon become one of Tom's most memorable students. Little did either of them know, this meeting would set off a chain of events that would change both their lives forever. Alex was a shy and withdrawn teenager who often felt invisible. At school, he struggled to keep up with his classmates, especially in math and science. His grades were poor, and teachers frequently labeled him as unmotivated or disinterested. But the truth was far more complicated. At home, life wasn't easy. Alex lived with his single mother, who worked long hours at a diner to make ends meet. There was never much time or energy for homework help or encouragement. The bills piled up, and so did Alex's doubts about his future. He often wondered if he'd ever amount to anything. One evening, while flipping through channels on the old TV, Alex overheard a news segment featuring interviews with local community heroes. One of them was Tom, the steelworker who tutored students during his lunch breaks. Something about the story resonated with Alex, a man working tirelessly yet still finding time to help others. The next day, Alex mustered the courage to visit the factory after school. Standing outside the gates, he hesitated, unsure if he should approach. Finally, he spotted Tom sitting on a bench, eating a sandwich and reviewing a student's workbook. Taking a deep breath, Alex walked over. Hi," Alex stammered. "I heard you help kids with their schoolwork. Do you think maybe you could help me too?" Tom looked up, smiling warmly. "Of course. Have a seat." Over the next few weeks, Alex began visiting regularly. At first, he was hesitant and self-conscious, convinced he was beyond help. But Tom's patience and encouragement slowly broke down those walls. "You're smarter than you think," Tom told him one afternoon after Alex solved a particularly tricky problem. "You just need someone to believe in you, and I do." For the first time in years, Alex felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he could turn things around. Every weekday, Alex arrived at the factory just as Tom's lunch break began. They would sit on a bench near the gate or sometimes in a quiet corner of the factory yard, surrounded by the hum of machinery and the occasional shout from workers. Despite the noisy environment, their sessions became a sanctuary for learning and growth. Tom had a gift for teaching. He didn't just focus on solving equations or understanding scientific concepts. He taught Alex how to think critically and approach problems with confidence. When Alex struggled, Tom broke down complex ideas into simpler steps, using real-world examples that made sense to him. "Imagine this beam is like an equation," Tom said one day, pointing to a steel girder nearby. "If you add too much weight on one side without balancing it, the whole thing collapses. Same goes for math, you've got to keep everything in balance." Alex smiled faintly, scribbling notes in his workbook. Slowly but surely, the lessons started clicking. What once seemed impossible, like algebraic formulas or physics principles, began to make sense. But Tom's impact went beyond academics. He shared stories from his own life, talking about the challenges he faced growing up and how he overcame them. "Life doesn't always give you the tools you need," he told Alex during one session. "But if you're willing to work hard and adapt, you can build your own path." These words stuck with Alex. For the first time, he realized that success wasn't about being naturally smart. It was about persistence and believing in yourself. With each passing week, Alex grew more confident. His grades improved, and teachers noticed a change in his attitude. One afternoon, as they wrapped up another lesson, Alex looked at Tom earnestly. "Why do you do this? You don't have to spend your breaks helping me." Tom chuckled softly, leaning back against the bench. "Because everyone needs someone to believe in them. Someone believed in me once, and it changed my life. Now I get to pay that forward." Alex nodded, feeling a surge of gratitude. He vowed to prove Tom right, to show him that his efforts weren't wasted. As months turned into years, Alex continued to visit Tom whenever he needed guidance. Even as he entered high school and tackled tougher subjects, Tom remained a steadfast mentor. Together, they celebrated small victories, a good grade on a test, mastering a difficult concept, and worked through setbacks with equal determination. By the time Alex graduated, he'd not only caught up with his peers but surpassed many of them academically. More importantly, he discovered a passion for engineering, inspired by Tom's ability to turn raw materials into something strong and useful. When Alex received his acceptance letter to college, he ran straight to the factory to share the news with Tom. "I couldn't have done it without you," he said, tears welling up in his eyes. Tom clapped him on the shoulder proudly. "You did it, Alex. All I did was remind you what you were capable of." Though Alex was excited about his future, he promised himself he'd never forget where he came from, or the man who helped him get there. Years passed, and Alex's life transformed in ways he once thought impossible. College was challenging. There were moments when self-doubt crept back in, and the workload felt overwhelming. But every time he struggled, he remembered Tom's words, "You're stronger than you think." Those simple yet powerful reminders kept him going. Alex immersed himself in his studies, particularly excelling in engineering courses. His professors noticed his dedication and innovative thinking, often praising his ability to solve complex problems with creative solutions. By the time he graduated, Alex had not only earned top honors but also secured a coveted internship at a leading tech company. The internship turned into a full-time position, and Alex quickly climbed the ranks. His natural talent for problem-solving, combined with the resilience Tom had instilled in him, made him stand out among his peers. Within a decade, Alex founded his own tech startup, focusing on sustainable engineering solutions. The company grew rapidly, earning recognition for its cutting-edge designs and commitment to environmental responsibility. By the age of 35, Alex became the CEO of a globally successful enterprise. He traveled the world, gave keynote speeches at conferences, and inspired young engineers with stories of perseverance and innovation. Yet, despite all his achievements, one person remained at the forefront of his mind: Tom. One evening, as Alex sat in his office overlooking the city skyline, he reflected on how far he'd come. None of it would have been possible without the steelworker who believed in him during his darkest days. Determined to express his gratitude, Alex decided to return to the factory where it all began. The next morning, Alex arrived at the familiar gates, dressed in a suit that seemed out of place against the gritty backdrop of the industrial site. Workers stopped to stare as he walked through the facility, searching for Tom. Finally, he found him sitting on the same bench where they used to study together, eating a sandwich and reviewing notes for another tutoring session. "Tom!" Alex called out, his voice trembling with emotion. Tom looked up, squinting in surprise. For a moment, he didn't recognize the sharply dressed man standing before him. Then realization dawned, and his face lit up with a wide grin. "Alex, is that really you?" "It's me," Alex said, extending his hand before pulling Tom into a warm hug. "I came to say thank you for everything." They sat together, catching up on the years that had passed. Alex shared stories of his journey, the challenges, triumphs, and lessons learned along the way. Through it all, he credited Tom for planting the seeds of success. Before leaving, Alex made an offer he hoped would honor Tom's generosity. "I want to bring you onto my team," he said earnestly. "Not because I feel sorry for you or anything like that, It's because I know what kind of person you are. You've got so much wisdom and experience to share. My company could use someone like you." Tom hesitated, overwhelmed by the gesture. "Are you sure about this, Alex? I'm just a steelworker." "You're more than that," Alex replied firmly. "You're proof that kindness and hard work can change lives, including mine." Tom couldn't believe what was happening. One moment, he was sitting on a bench at the factory, eating his usual lunch, and the next, he was face to face with Alex, the shy teenager who once doubted himself, now a successful CEO. Felt surreal, like something out of a movie. Yet here they were, two lives forever intertwined by kindness and determination. As they talked, Tom listened intently to Alex's stories about college, career challenges, and eventual success. He marveled at how far Alex had come since those early days of struggling with math problems on a worn notebook. But what struck Tom most was Alex's humility. Despite his accomplishments, Alex hadn't forgotten where he came from, or the people who helped him along the way. "You've done amazing things," Tom said proudly, shaking his head in disbelief. "I always knew you had it in you." Alex smiled, but there was seriousness in his eyes as he leaned forward. "None of this would have happened without you, Tom. You gave me more than just tutoring, you gave me hope when I needed it most. That's why I want to bring you onto my team. We can create opportunities for others, just like you did for me." Tom hesitated again, feeling unworthy of such an offer. "I don't know much about running a tech company," he admitted. "I'm just a guy who likes teaching kids during lunch breaks." "That's exactly why we need someone like you," Alex insisted. "You understand people. You see potential where others might overlook it, and you inspire them to believe in themselves. Those are qualities every great leader needs." For the first time in years, Tom allowed himself to dream bigger. The idea of leaving the factory wasn't easy. He'd spent decades building a life there. But he also knew that accepting Alex's offer could allow him to reach even more people. After all, helping others had always been his true passion. "All right," Tom finally said, smiling through tears. "If you think I can make a difference, then I'll do it." Alex beamed, relief washing over him. "You already have, Tom. This is just the beginning." Over the following weeks, Tom prepared for his transition. His coworkers were shocked when they heard the news, not only because of the unexpected job offer, but also because of the impact Tom had unknowingly made on so many lives. Some shared their own memories of being tutored by him, while others expressed gratitude for his quiet generosity over the years. On his last day at the factory, Tom stood outside the gates, looking back at the place that had shaped so much of his life. He felt a mix of sadness and excitement as he thought about the future. For the first time, he realized that his lunch break lessons weren't just about helping students. They were about creating ripples of change that extended far beyond anything he could have imagined. Tom's new role at Alex's company marked the start of an exciting chapter in both their lives. While Tom initially worried about fitting into such a different environment, his natural ability to connect with people quickly made him invaluable. He wasn't just a mentor or advisor. He became a symbol of hope and possibility within the organization. Alex created a special program called Building Futures, inspired by Tom's dedication to education and community support. The initiative provided scholarships, internships, and mentorship opportunities for students from underprivileged backgrounds, many of whom reminded Alex of his younger self. Tom played a key role in shaping the program, drawing on his years of experience tutoring struggling kids. "I've seen firsthand how one person's belief can change someone's life," Tom explained during the program's launch event. "If we can give these young people the tools and encouragement they need, there's no limit to what they can achieve." The program grew rapidly, attracting attention from schools, businesses, and media outlets nationwide. Stories poured in from participants whose lives had been transformed, students who went on to pursue careers in engineering, technology, and other fields they once thought were out of reach. For Alex, seeing the impact of Building Futures reinforced why he'd wanted to honor Tom in the first place. It wasn't just about giving back. It was about creating a cycle of generosity that would continue long after they were gone. Tom, too, found deep fulfillment in his new role. Though he missed the familiarity of the factory, he loved being part of something bigger, a movement that empowered others to chase their dreams. Every success story reminded him of Alex, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness could grow into something extraordinary. One evening, as Tom and Alex sat together reflecting on their journey, Alex turned to him with a smile. "You know, I used to think success meant achieving my goals, but now I realize it's about lifting others up along the way." Tom nodded, his eyes glistening with pride. "That's the real win, isn't it? Knowing you've made a difference. Not just for yourself, but for everyone around you." Their story spread far and wide, inspiring countless others to embrace the power of generosity and perseverance. Teachers, parents, and mentors everywhere began sharing their own efforts to help struggling students, creating a ripple effect of compassion and belief. In the end, the legacy of Tom and Alex wasn't just about individual success. It was about proving that kindness, hard work, and faith in others could transform lives forever. Together, they showed the world that no matter where you come from or what your circumstances are, you have the power to build bridges toward a brighter future. And so, surrounded by gratitude and purpose, Tom and Alex looked ahead to each new day, ready to inspire, uplift, and remind the world that even the smallest acts of kindness can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Tom's story is a powerful reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness can create ripples far beyond what we imagine. By dedicating his lunch breaks to tutoring struggling students, Tom didn't just teach math and science. He planted seeds of hope, confidence, and possibility. One of those seeds grew into Alex, a young man who went on to achieve incredible success and honor his mentor in ways neither of them could have predicted. This story shows us that everyone has the power to make a difference. You don't need wealth, fame, or special skills to change someone's life. All you need is belief. Belief in their potential, belief in the power of encouragement, and belief that your actions matter. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever doubted yourself, felt invisible, or wondered if anyone cared about your struggles? Most of us have been there at some point. But imagine if, during those moments, someone had taken the time to say, "I believe in you." Those few words could have changed everything. Now, consider this. What if you were that person for someone else? Whether it's a child, a coworker, a neighbor, or even a stranger, your belief in them might be the spark they need to keep going. When Tom told Alex, "You're smarter than you think," he wasn't just teaching him how to solve equations. He was showing him he was capable of greatness. Your words of encouragement can do the same for someone else. A simple compliment, a listening ear, or an offer to help can boost someone's confidence when they need it most. Tom probably never imagined that his lunch break lessons would lead to Alex becoming a CEO and creating opportunities for countless others. Yet that's exactly what happened. Small acts of kindness, like tutoring a student, volunteering your time, or simply being present for someone, can grow into something extraordinary. Alex started as a shy, struggling teenager who doubted his abilities. But Tom saw something more in him. He focused on possibilities, not limitations. You too can play this role in someone's life. Look beyond their current struggles and see the potential within them. When Alex launched Building Futures, he inspired others to pay it forward. Acts of generosity and belief spread like wildfire, touching lives far and wide. Your kindness can do the same. When you uplift someone, they're likely to pass it on, creating a chain reaction of positivity. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Look around for opportunities to encourage someone. It could be as simple as telling a coworker they're doing a great job, helping a neighbor carry groceries, or volunteering your time to mentor someone in need. Every act of kindness adds up, creating a wave of hope that extends far beyond your immediate circle. Remember, you don't need fancy tools or endless resources to make an impact. All you need is a heart willing to care and a voice ready to encourage. Will you step up and be the light someone needs today? Will you choose to believe in others, just as Tom believed in Alex? Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting for a hero, and that hero could be you.